Well, it's day two of the UN General Assembly in New York, and already it's been jam-packed, full of world leaders putting forth their ideas, their thoughts about international issues and policy. Coming up in just a few hours, WikiLeaks co-founder Julian Assange is expected to speak via video link at the event called Strengthening Human Rights. The event is hosted by Ecuadorian Foreign Minister Ricardo Patino. Ecuador, of course, has granted Assange asylum, though he's been holed up in the Ecuadorian embassy in London for several months now as he tries to figure out a way to leave the country without being arrested. Assange is wanted for questioning in Sweden on allegations of sexual assault. Now, as we await his speech, which we do plan to bring you live as it happens about 6:30 Eastern this evening, we want to talk about the latest in his case and what he might bring up this evening at the event. For more on that, I'm joined now by Kevin Gosztola, blogger for Firedog Lake. Hey there, Kevin. Let's just get started. And let me ask you this. What's the significance of today's planned speech by Assange?
The significance is that he's going to the international community to recruit support, and I think to perhaps get others in the international community to lobby for him, perhaps put pressure on the United Kingdom, on Sweden, maybe even on the United States to favor or to go ahead and support having safe passage for Assange to Ecuador.
Now, the topic of the event that he's going to be speaking at is called Strengthening Human Rights. Any ideas on sort of specifically what he might be focused on? Do you think he'll be extra critical of the U.S.?
Well, I mean, with the foreign minister, Ricardo Patino, there to present some of these ideas and thoughts that Assange has, and also with a lawyer from the Center for Constitutional Rights, some of those people are part of the WikiLeaks legal team. I think that you're going to hear discussion about how Ecuador is strengthening the rights of refugees, and that's been a key thing of granting asylum. It has been that they are allowing people, and they believe that refugees have a right to settle in Ecuador. I think there's also going to be discussions about the importance of whistleblowers and transparency. And I think that you'll see Assange doing what he did when he was on the balcony at the Ecuador embassy in the United Kingdom and shine a light on the United States' war on whistleblowing, which he is very much a target. The WikiLeaks organization has been in the crosshairs of this war.
And let's not underplay this, Kevin. I mean, this is a huge stage for anyone. This is where President Obama spoke yesterday, President of Iran and Egypt spoke today. For Julian Assange to be speaking here, I mean, you say you're hoping that he's going to recruit, you think he's hoping that he's going to recruit some support for his case. Do you think he'll be successful in that?
Yeah, and I think, I mean, there's going to be a dual opportunity that Assange has. I mean, in a sense that he's going to get many people in the world who have benefited from this information that has been revealed. I mean, let's not doubt the fact that leaders of these countries that got to see what the United States was doing behind closed doors had some kind of benefit in their policymaking and the way that they went about diplomatic relations. I think it definitely gave people in other countries an edge in diplomatic conversations with the United States. But then let's also just admit that there's maybe some more to Assange's speech in that he could be talking about freedom, talking about transparency, talking about these different causes and issues that he has taken up. And that there could be, while there's some part of it that is just out there for himself to get safe passage, that he would also be using the platform to talk about these wide issues.
Yeah, and I should say, WikiLeaks today sort of posted, used today's planned speech as an excuse to post sort of where Julian Assange is right now, what's led up to the situation that he's in. And as we know, WikiLeaks has shown this. There's been a coordinated effort by the U.S., by several other countries to investigate WikiLeaks as well as Assange himself. Really quick, Kevin, I want to play a part of a news conference with Attorney General Eric Holder from 2 years ago.
We have a very serious criminal investigation that's underway, and we're looking at all of the things that we can do to try to stem the flow of this information.
So obviously, Kevin, Attorney General Holder not being too specific, and that hasn't changed today. But what are your thoughts, for those naysayers who still say Assange should just go to Sweden and answer the calls for questioning, and everything will be fine?
Well, first off, people should understand that Ecuador isn't negating the reality that Sweden has a case against Assange and that perhaps he should be brought to the country. In fact, the latest development is that there is a conversation going on in the background about what if we could fly Assange to our Ecuador embassy in Sweden and he could be questioned at our embassy in Sweden, the Ecuadorian embassy in Sweden. And so this is something that people shouldn't let go of, because the Ecuador country hasn't thought that Assange shouldn't answer to whatever Sweden wants to answer. The concern is that in Sweden he would be moved on to the United States. And so the reality is that the United States has kept this cloud of investigation over the WikiLeaks organization ever since the major leaks in 2010, and that this is going to continue to hover over Assange, and that I think that's the purpose, partially. Maybe there won't ever be indictments, but to continue to persecute the organization for publishing this information and to target individuals like Jacob Applebaum, a WikiLeaks volunteer, or to target David House, one of Manning's friends, before he was arrested and imprisoned. This is something that the United States is going to continue to do, and people who have ties to the WikiLeaks organization will come under this sort of scrutiny.
We just have about 30 seconds left, Kevin, but I want to ask you, with a lot of speakers, Ahmadinejad, it happens with him every year that diplomats walk out of the room. I know the Canadian delegation did it when he spoke today. Do you think that we'll see anything like this when Assange's video link pops up, that people will walk out of the room?
Yeah, I doubt it. I don't see that there's any sort of stakes out there where any of these countries have to do anything like that.
All right, Kevin Gostola, blogger for Firedog Lake. And as I mentioned earlier, we will be bringing you Julian Assange's speech live when it happens. So keep it tuned right here on RT.